Hello everyone, welcome to BAJIRAO IAS Academy, the Hindu News Analysis. So today is 13th of May and today also we have few important and relevant articles from the Hindu. So we'll discuss one by one in a very detailed manner, and before actually discussing all important news articles, let's try to solve yesterday given practice question. So in previous class I have given one question on core industries, right? So there are 8 core industries, for example electricity, refineries, and even cement, steel. So such core industries are 8 core industries. So these 8 core industries actually forms a very important part in the overall output. Okay, so overall industrial output, the contribution of 8 core industries is a major contribution. So therefore the statements that I've given here are, first statement says that 8 industries comprise total 40.27% of the total weight of the overall items that are included in the index of industrial production. Second statement says cement industry has the highest weight in the index of industrial production. Now understand one thing here, that is the first statement is obviously correct. There's no doubt about that, because 40.27% of the total weight of the 8 core industries in the total industrial output of our country. But on the other hand, if you look at the second statement, it is incorrect statement. Why it is incorrect? Because the refinery sector is actually having the highest weight, but not the cement sector. But refinery sector actually having the highest weight in the index of industrial production. So because of that reason, this statement is obviously incorrect. So therefore correct answer is A. Now we'll briefly understand what exactly is this index of industrial production, and at the same time the core industries or index of 8 core industries. So the index of 8 core industries actually refer to production volume index that actually measures collective and individual production performances of the 8 selected core industries. Right, so there are 8 selected core industries, and these 8 selected core industries actually play a very important role in the overall industrial output. As I have already told you that the 8 core industries contribute more than 40% of the total weight of the overall industrial production. So what are these 8 core industries? So the 8 core industries include natural gas, coal, refinery products, crude oil, cement, electricity, steel, and fertilizer. So if I can reiterate this again, which sector has the highest weightage among all these 8 core industries? So that is the refinery products industry has the highest weightage in the index of industrial production. Now previously electricity used to have the highest weight, but now the refinery products have got the highest weight. So apart from that, the compilation and at the same time releasing of this index of industrial production or index of 8 core industries is actually done by the Office of the Economic Advisor, Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So this particular ministry or this particular department actually tasked with releasing the index of 8 core industries every month. So these industries, the 8 core industries, comprises total of 40.27% of the total weight of the overall items that are included in the index of industrial production. So please remember that UPSC has already asked a question on this index of industrial production and index of 8 core industries. So therefore you have to be very careful and you must understand this as well. Okay, so especially this, and at the same time the weights of these 8 core industries in the descending order. The index of 8 core industries highest weight is currently possessed by the refinery industry. Earlier the highest weight has been possessed by or given to the electricity industry, but now remember that the refinery products industry is actually given the highest weightage in the index of 8 core industries. So I hope it is clear for you that the correct answer for the previous question was A, one only. Now today also I have one more practice question that we have very often discussed about this bird flu that is very often known as H5N1 virus, right? So the question is, Consider the following statements in respect of bird flu H5N1. First statement says the virus can infect humans easily and spread from person to person in a very common way. Second statement says that H5N1 infection in humans can cause severe disease but less mortality rate. Now, which of the following statements are correct from the above given statements? Okay, so please answer this question in the comment section, and I'll also provide explanation, and I will also provide the correct answer in tomorrow's class. Now we have a series or a list of important articles to discuss today. So first important article is investment lessons from the India European Free Trade Arrangement trade deal. Okay, so this is EFTA, actually means European Free Trade Association. European Free Trade Association. Recently, India and European Free Trade Association have actually signed a free trade agreement. So therefore, this free trade agreement is very, very important for India to further step up its exports to the countries which are part of Europe, but they are not part of the European Union. Even though they are part of the Europe, but they are not part of the European Union. So these European Free Trade Association countries. Now, what is the context of this particular editorial? The context is that India recently concluded a significant trade deal. Okay, so we have concluded a trade deal or a free trade agreement with the European Free Trade Association. Now, the European Free Trade Association actually has 4 member countries in it. So what are those 4 member countries? First, Iceland, and second, Liechtenstein, and third, Norway, and fourth, Switzerland. So these 4 countries come together. They have established European Free Trade Association. The other thing that you have to understand here, that this European Free Trade Association countries are part of Europe, but they are not part of the European Union. Okay, so therefore they have their own or separate trade regime. And in fact, we all knew that India is going through the 18th Lok Sabha polls or 18th general elections. So therefore, in this context, in this election year, so we have also seen stalling of trade ties, a halting of trade ties with UK, the negotiations over the free trade agreement with UK, and even the European Union, and even Canada, because of the diplomatic row that was erupted between India and Canada. So therefore, the European Free Trade Association trade deal with India is very, very significant, and we will understand this. Okay, so if we can briefly talk about this India European Free Trade Association trade agreement. So in fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi called this as a watershed movement in India and European Free Trade Association relations. So I hope you already know what are those countries which are part of the European Free Trade Association. Now we'll try to understand briefly about this European Free Trade Association. So this European Free Trade Association is an intergovernmental body. Okay, so what is this intergovernmental body? In this intergovernmental body, there are different sovereign governments which are actually take part, or they come together and they have established one agreement or one association. For example, ASEAN is an intergovernmental organization. SAARC is an intergovernmental organization, because multiple countries come together and they have established these associations. In a similar way, the European Free Trade Association is also an intergovernmental body, and it comprises of 4 countries including Iceland, Norway, Switzerland, and Liechtenstein. And the other thing that you have to understand, that all these 4 countries are part of Europe, but they are not part of the European Union, or they are outside European Union. Now the other thing is that we must understand what is the economic significance of the European Free Trade Association. So we must understand this economic significance as well. So the overall or the combined GDP of all these European Free Trade Association countries is $1 trillion. Okay, so the overall or the combined GDP is $1 trillion. And at the same time, the European Free Trade Association nations are the world's 9th largest merchandise trader. Okay, so if you look at the total merchandise traders, the European Free Trade Association is world's 9th largest merchandise trader, and in fact 5th largest in commercial services. But if we can specifically talk about the India and European Free Trade Association bilateral ties, India is European Free Trade Association's 5th largest trading partner after European Union, United States, Britain and China. India comes the 5th. Okay, so what are the major features of this particular India European Free Trade Association trade agreement? So there are certain key provisions or key features. The first feature is that the investment and employment opportunities. Now, as part of this particular trade deal, all the countries which are part of the European Free Trade Association, they have actually committed an investment of $100 billion, and these $100 billion will be invested in India in next 15 years. So in the next 15 years, these $100 billion will be invested in India by all these European Free Trade Association countries. And apart from such a huge investments, these countries will also create 1 million direct jobs in the next 5 years. So therefore, we can say that it is a win-win situation for India. Why it is a win-win situation? It is because this particular trade agreement, on the one hand, providing employment opportunities, gainful employment opportunities for the youth, and at the same time it is also coming up with the huge investments into India. Now when any country is investing in India, it also comes with the technology transfer as well, technology transfer and even the infrastructure development also. So therefore, 100 billion investment by these European Free Trade Association countries is actually huge, and that is going to benefit India in the long term. And the second important feature is that India has actually offered 83% of its tariff lines. And what is a tariff? For example, imagine that this European Free Trade Association countries wanted to export some goods to India. Now, while India importing those goods from these European Free Trade Association countries, so they have to pay a certain amount of customs, or they have to pay a certain amount of tariffs. Only then the European Free Trade Association countries will be allowed into India. Okay, so now India has offered 83% of its tariff lines, which covers 95.3% of the European Free Trade Association grouping exports. So that essentially means India will reduce its tariffs on the exports of European Free Trade Association to India. So therefore, it will lead to the elimination of duties on most industrial goods like Swiss watches, pharmaceutical products and chocolates, etc. And apart from that, it also takes into account the service sector as well. Now, when we talk about the service sector, so different provisions in the agreement provide improved market access to different services like financial services, telecommunication, and even the maritime personnel. Okay, so this European Free Trade Association and India Free Trade Agreement actually having a clause of $100 billion investment in the next 15 years. And apart from that, the technology transfer, especially investments and key technology transfers in sectors like agriculture, renewable energy, pharmaceutical, garments and medical instruments will also take place in the next 15 years. So completely this is what is about the India European Free Trade Association trade agreement. Now, what exactly this particular article or this editorial is talking about? So first and foremost, this trade deal has incorporated a detailed or a comprehensive investment provision. So this comprehensive investment provision is actually distinguishing it from the recent India's free trade agreements, because if you look at India's recent free trade agreements that are being signed with United Arab Emirates, and even they are being signed with the Australia, but they are lacking such a comprehensive and holistic detailed investment provisions. Okay, so that is the difference between recent free trade agreements that India signed and India European Free Trade Association trade deal. And apart from that, it also have specific investment targets also. Now we have understood that in the next 15 years, the European Free Trade Association countries will invest $100 billion into India. So therefore it is a target. So therefore we can say that it includes specific investment targets. Notably, agreements sets investment targets for European Free Trade Association nations. So therefore it has been indicating a commitment to bilateral economic growth for India. So along with that, introduction of the obligation of conduct in this particular trade deal. Okay, so this obligation of conduct is being introduced in this trade deal, and this obligation of conduct emphasizes on sincere efforts towards investment goals rather than guaranteeing outcomes. So both sides, both India and at the same time the European Free Trade Association, have to show a certain degree of sincerity in ensuring the promised investments come to India. Okay, so these are actually considered as the breakthrough provisions in India European Free Trade Association agreement. And apart from that, the integration of trade and investment is also part of this particular trade deal, because now it has recognized the intrinsic linkage. Okay, so because it underscores the inherent connection between trade and investment. Now earlier free trade agreements that India signed, so there is no such provision or there are no such free trade agreements that India signed which actually having an intrinsic or integrated clause dealing with both trade and investment. But this is only agreement European Free Trade Association, it is only agreement where it has identified the inherent connection between trade and investment, challenging India's previous approach of separating negotiations. And secondly, so we have to talk about the comprehensiveness of this particular treaty that both India and European Free Trade Association have actually signed. And in fact, it can be called as a holistic economic treaty. Okay, so it has covered major provisions, and it also has a detailed investment targets. So therefore it can provide India a greater negotiation leverage going ahead with this agreement. And apart from that, the strategic bargaining stance can also be adopted, because the combined approaches for India actually enables a more strategic stance in negotiations. And this strategic stance will facilitate concessions in one area in exchange for benefits in another area. So this is essentially based on the principle of reciprocity. That is actually involved here. Okay, so this is all about India and European Free Trade Association free trade agreement. Now apart from that, there are certain implications also for India's trade policy approach. So what are those implications that India going to see? So first and foremost, it could lead to a shift in India's trade policy strategy, because now early free trade agreements of India, there is no such integration in trade and investment in any of its free trade agreements. Okay, so therefore we can call this India European Free Trade Association trade agreement is actually a departure from the free trade agreement 2.0 strategy. So decoupling the agreements. Okay, so earlier agreements are actually decoupling or separating both trade and investment, but now this has included both trade and investment clauses. And apart from that, it will also have a huge impact on the future free trade agreements that India is going to sign. So we have aspirations to sign free trade agreements with several other countries. So they include UK, European Union, and even with countries like Canada that we wanted to sign a free trade agreement, and that includes Gulf Cooperation Council as well. So therefore this India European Free Trade Association, this particular trade agreement actually provides an inspiration, or it provides a guidance for India to sign future free trade agreements. So the agreements approach may influence future free trade agreements, indicating a potential return to the integrated trade investment model of the 2000s. And apart from that, India at this point of time, at this juncture, requires a comprehensive free trade policy. And this comprehensive free trade policy actually emphasizes on a clear and comprehensive free trade agreement policy that underscores necessity for India to align its trade and investment laws for an optimal economic growth. Now remember that at this point of time, especially at a time when we have a highest amount of demographic dividend, and at the same time we wanted to leverage our demographic dividend, it is very important that we require a large scale investment options in front of us. So these investment options actually benefit us, and these investment options also will help us achieve higher levels of economic growth and economic development as well. So therefore such free trade agreements are actually in the interest of India. Now here I have given a list of free trade agreements that India signed. Now we'll briefly understand what exactly is a free trade agreement. Now free trade agreement is actually a comprehensive deal, so that is between different countries. So those countries are actually offering a preferential trade terms, tariff concessions with a negative list excluding specific products and services. Okay, now so I can explain you through this. There is a country A and country B. Now if country A wanted to increase its exports to country B, and at the same time country B also wanted to export certain goods to country A, then what they have to do, they must reduce the tariffs. Okay, so they must reduce the tariffs between them. So in this free trade agreement, so both these countries come to an agreement, and under this agreement they actually reduce these tariffs, and they will further boost the bilateral trade between these two countries, and that is essentially known as free trade agreement. Now what are the major free trade agreements that India signed? So one was India-Sri Lanka free trade agreement, it was signed, and India-Nepal treaty of trade, and third, India-Bhutan agreement on trade and commerce and transit. And apart from that, India also signed free trade agreements with certain regional powers also, certain regional groupings or regional associations. One was India-ASEAN trade in goods agreement. So this includes total 11 members, so 10 members of Asian grouping and plus one other member, that is India. So South Asia free trade agreement, this has 7 members who are actually part of the SAARC grouping, or BIMSTEC grouping. BIMSTEC, not BIMSTEC, but it can be closely related to the SAARC grouping. And after that, the global system of trade preferences, 41 countries that with India, India is having a global system of trade preferences. Okay, so you can pause the video and you can also go through all these preferential trade agreements and India's comprehensive economic cooperation agreements and economic cooperation agreements, right? So the next important article is with respect to the DigiLocker. So this was an editorial that is being given in the Hindu. So what exactly is this DigiLocker? Because understand, UPSC, there was a question on this DigiLocker, and there is also a probability that you may get a question on this for your prelims examination rather than your mains examination. Now try to understand DigiLocker in a very simple manner. It is a key initiative under India's government's Digital India program. Okay, so this is actually a flagship program, and that is aimed at transforming India into a digitally empowered society and the knowledge economy, right? So the DigiLocker overall objective is this. So DigiLocker is a system to provide citizens with the real-time access to dematerialized documents which are being issued by the various government or private agencies. Now, for example, if I can tell you that imagine a person who is having a mobile phone and he can simply download this DigiLocker app, in his mobile or her mobile. So after downloading this DigiLocker mobile, he or she should simply provide all the details, so basic necessary details. Okay, so when he provided those details based on the name or the region or the state he belongs to, he will get all the details in that DigiLocker app. For example, the matriculation certificate can be accessed, the voter ID can be accessed, driving license can be accessed, and degree certificate. So all these things, even PAN card can also be accessed. So all these things can be accessed through a digital mode through the DigiLocker app. And in fact, the DigiLocker app or the documents which are actually stored in the DigiLocker app are also considered as the original documents by the authorities. Now, for example, if you're being stopped by a traffic police, and you can simply open your DigiLocker app and you can show your license to the traffic police, because so that will also be considered as a legal document or a original document. So therefore, this statement can be this is the objective of the DigiLocker. Now this DigiLocker shall actually provide citizens with shareable private space. So they will have their own private space where they actually have all their documents and on a public cloud, and make all documents, certificates available on this cloud. Okay, so as I have already told you, all the documents that actually belong to them will be available, right? So apart from that, we should understand this DigiLocker app. Okay, so this DigiLocker platform was launched in 2015 and it operates as an app to store users' digital records. So what are those digital records? They include all the certificates of the person who installed this app and provided the details. And apart from that, this app can be used when applying for a passport. For example, any person who is applying for a passport, or reviewing the mark sheets of the person, or proving one's identity during the travel times. So for all these purposes, this DigiLocker app can be seamlessly used. Okay, so that is the advantage. And apart from that, the app is part of the Indian government's paper-free initiative. So we wanted to go paper-free. So we wanted to go digital. Okay, so therefore it is part of India's digital drive. Okay, so digitally empowered knowledge based society is the overall motto of the Digital India program. So this DigiLocker is also part of the Digital India program. So that is aiming to make India paper free initiative aimed at letting users access, verify, and even store essential documents in a digital wallet, so that they are easy to retrieve and present to the officials whenever these documents are necessary. Okay, so you can see here what there are certain benefits that are being associated with the digital locker. So you can go through all these benefits of the digital locker. Now, so users adopting digital locker. Now how users are adopting this digital locker? So these this particular digital locker app actually eliminate the need to carry separate set of documents while they are on their move. Okay, so there is no need to carry all your documents wherever you go and you require those documents. So there is no requirement to carry all those documents. Secondly, the documents can be fetched or stored in the local device. For example, if you have a mobile phone, and these documents can be easily accessible by you in your mobile phone. And at the same time, these digital documents are very often considered by the authorities as valid documents. So therefore, there is no need to carry those physical documents with you. You can simply have this digital locker app, and this digital locker app can be used to access all your certificates at one single place. So, but the basic question that we have to understand here is DigiLocker a safe version, or it is secured? Because see, understand that we have a lot of financial information, personal information in this DigiLocker app. And at the same time, the cybercrime has been, becoming more and more sophisticated over a period of time with the rapid rise or rapid developments in the technology. So therefore, it is a basic question that whether a DigiLocker is safe and secured or not. Now the question is that, is it safer? The government answers this question that DigiLocker is a flagship initiative of the Ministry of Electronics, IT and Information Technology. Okay, so this was also launched under the Digital India program that we have already understood. Okay, so this was launched under the Digital India program, meaning it is a government approved application and it is ideally maintained with strict security protocols framed by the officials. So therefore we can say that the DigiLocker is a safer version to store all your documents. Okay, so this is a brief about the DigiLocker program. So apart from that, there are also certain issues with respect to this DigiLocker. So what are those basic issues that we will face while using this DigiLocker app? Because not all the people have smartphones or access to smartphones. Even if they have access to smartphones, they don't know how to operate this DigiLocker app. So therefore one such issue or one such challenge is digital divide is the issue, because all the people, even if they have mobile phones, they may not be able to access all their documents through this DigiLocker app. Okay, so if they don't know how to access these documents, or even if they have all these documents in their DigiLocker app, there is a chance that cybercrime would target those people. Okay, so therefore it is also involving a complex set of issues. So that includes using OTPs, fetching their credentials unless they have assistance. Okay, so those who cannot read also at a disadvantage of using this DigiLocker, and it is also another issue. So therefore it should be made user friendly. And apart from that, the other major issue is that people usually have multiple names, and they also have aliases and inconsistent spellings and even slightly mismatched certificates. But this is all these things are not suitable for the DigiLocker app. So everything should be perfect from your end, only then you will be able to access your documents. And apart from that, all the state government documents are not available in the DigiLocker app. So I've personally tried this DigiLocker app. So therefore it should be made user friendly, and there is a need to make it further secure, safe. Okay, so only then we will be able to best use this DigiLocker app and at the same time achieve the objectives of the Digital India program. Now the next important article is with respect to the Vibrant Villages program. Vibrant Villages program. So this program was launched by Union Home Ministry. So this Vibrant Villages program specially focuses on the border villages across the line of actual control. So that is, the line of actual control is border between India and China. Okay, so the Vibrant Villages program was launched to develop infrastructure in these border areas. Not just infrastructure, but it also focuses on developing connectivity also. Okay, so infrastructure and connectivity in these border areas is the overall objective of the Vibrant Villages program. And apart from infrastructure, the other objective is that arrest migration from the border areas to other areas, and at the same time generate sustainable livelihoods for the people in those border villages. So therefore all these are the objectives under the Vibrant Villages program that was launched by the government. Now we'll understand the context, and we will also understand the basic details of this Vibrant Villages program. Okay, so in this Vibrant Villages program, the government is likely spend 2 crore each kilometer of road to be constructed along the China border in Uttarakhand, Sikkim under the Vibrant Villages program, according to the government. Okay, so around under this Vibrant Village program, around 2 crore rupees will be spent. Okay, so 2 crore rupees will be spent on each kilometer of road to be constructed along the China border in Uttarakhand, Sikkim under this Vibrant Villages program. Now in fact, the Ministry of Home Affairs has actually sanctioned around 113 roads under this Vibrant Villages program. So please understand, this Vibrant Villages program is also very important for your preliminary examination. So therefore make sure that you know about this Vibrant Villages program. Okay, so Ministry of Home Affairs has actually sanctioned 113 roads under the Vibrant Villages program in states like Arunachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, to improve connectivity in areas along the China border. So, okay, so this essentially focuses on improving the connectivity along the China border. However, so 105 roads have been sanctioned in Arunachal Pradesh, and 5 roads in Uttarakhand and 3 roads in Sikkim have also been approved under this Vibrant Villages program. However, there are at least 168 villages along the border with China that do not have any road connectivity. Now see, the other thing is that now China has becoming more and more aggressive and assertive in recent times, and border conflicts between India and China are also becoming normal every year. So therefore, in this context, it is very important that we develop connectivity on Indian side so that it will help in quick mobilization of our soldiers or quick mobilization of the forces. But you know, according to the reports, that if you look at the other side of Chinese border, so they have made a huge progress with respect to the development of the infrastructure in the on the other side of the China. So therefore we must improve our infrastructure, otherwise we will lose the strategic advantage with respect to China, and China would have a more edge in case of any conflict or any war that erupts in future. So because of that reason, India has actually focused on further improving infrastructure and connectivity across these villages. Now once these roads are constructed, the asset will have to be maintained by the state governments. So the responsibility of laying roads is taken up by the union government, but once those roads are laid, the state governments will have to take the responsibility. So the Vibrant Village program launched on February 15. So in this year 2023, the Vibrant Villages program was launched by the union government. And this Vibrant Village program actually covered 2,967 villages in total, and 46 border blocks and 19 districts of Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Uttarakhand and Ladakh. So all these states will be covered under the Vibrant Villages program, and these states are also sharing their borders with the China, or they have the line of actual control. Now, so we'll briefly understand the objectives of the Vibrant Villages program. So what are the objectives of the Vibrant Village program? Now, the first objective is stop migration in the population residing along the border. So the first objective. And second objective, motivate the people to continue stay there in those villages, and help to gather intelligence from the people of border villages. Okay, so these are the objectives of the Vibrant Villages program of the government. And apart from that, 68% of the total villages that will be covered in the first phase of the Vibrant Villages program are actually in Arunachal Pradesh alone. Okay, so the number of villages in different states which are being benefited from this Vibrant Villages program actually includes 35 in Ladakh, while Himachal Pradesh has 75 of such villages, and 46 villages for Sikkim and 51 villages for the Uttarakhand. Okay, so total allocated amount for this Vibrant Villages program was 4,800 crore. So that was a budget allocated for the Vibrant Villages program in 3 financial years, 23-24, 24-25 and 25-26. So therefore more than half, that is about 2,500 crore, is to be spent on the road construction alone. Okay, so as I have already told you that China is also making a rapid progress in developing infrastructure on their side of the line of actual control. So therefore it is time for India that we should also develop a model China of villages across the line of actual control. So therefore we will have a strategic advantage over China. And in fact, so these villages that are being developed by China are known as Xiaohang. So they are moderately prosperous villages, and they are also close to the line of actual control opposite to Uttarakhand, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh. Now apart from that, we have certain benefits of this vibrant villages program. So just go through those benefits. So inclusive growth of villages on the northern border. See, so when we develop connectivity or when we develop roads, improve connectivity in those border areas, so it will give a lot of boost to tourism. Now tourism generates a lot of livelihood opportunities, and then it will arrest the migration of the people from those border areas. And apart from that, it will also very helpful for the quick mobilization of the security forces whenever there is a need or whenever there is an untoward incident. Okay, so it will improve the quality of life of people, and apart from that, it will reverse the out migration, adding to the improved security of our country. So these are the benefits of the vibrant villages program, and it was launched in 2023 by the union government. So next important article is with respect to coal mining that has been taking place in Meghalaya. Okay, so please understand that coal is a fossil fuel, but coal mining also have a certain negative consequences on the environment. Okay, so taking sumoto of this coal mining in Meghalaya. So Meghalaya High Court, one of the Meghalaya High Court has actually appointed one member panel. So that was appointed by the Meghalaya High Court. So this one member panel will handle coal related issues that are actually flagged. This particular one member panel has actually flagged that there's a lack of progress in restoring the environmental damages which are being caused by the rat hole mining in the northeastern state of Meghalaya. Now what exactly is this rat hole mining? So this rat hole mining is very often in use. Okay, so therefore it is very important for us to understand what exactly is this rat hole mining. So rat hole mining is a method of extracting coal by digging very small burrows using handheld tools by the miners. So this is simply or briefly rat hole mining, because in Uttarakhand tunnel rescue also these rat miners are being used to rescue workers who were trapped in the tunnel after the tunnel was collapsed. Okay, so as part of this rat mining, the burrows are just about 4 feet wide. Okay, so the miners in small groups go down these burrows, and they try to excavate a small amounts of coal. And after reaching the coal seam, miners create a lateral tunnel to extract the coal. Okay, for example, they have created a tunnel here, and all the miners go in this tunnel, and then they will also create another tunnel outside to extract the coal outside of the tunnel. Okay, so because it was a very small tunnel, it is not possible to send all the workers from one side and also draw coal from the same side. Okay, so the extracted coal is dumped within the vicinity before being transported via the highways. So this is how the rat hole mining actually works. Okay, so the committee that was appointed by the Meghalaya High Court was Justice Brojendra Prasad Katake Committee. So this Brojendra Prasad Katake Committee has actually highlighted non-utilization of the Meghalaya Environment Protection and Restoration Fund that was created earlier for the protection of the environment or restoration of the environment. Okay, so the High Court has actually appointed this Justice Brojendra Prasad Katake Committee to suggest measures to the Meghalaya government in compliance with the directions issued by the Supreme Court of India and National Green Tribunal, so which actually banned the hazardous rat hole mining in the state of Meghalaya. So again, I'll explain rat hole mining. So it involves digging small tunnels using enough for a person to crawl through the extract to extract the coal. So this is how the rat hole mining actually takes place. Okay, so see, you can see the burrows that how they have created, and this is how the rat hole mining usually takes place. And the rat hole mining is actually considered as a illegal mining, and this illegal mining is also having a lot of negative environmental consequences. so that degrades or destroys the existing environment. So therefore it must be banned or prohibited. And apart from that, there is also a higher risk involved in this rat hole mining. Okay, so sudden collapse of this top layer of the mountains will lead to the death of the miners. So the people living in areas around these mines, so most of them abandoned, continue to suffer due to the continued acid mine drainage from the mine pits, so that have not been closed yet. Okay, so these pits actually release the acid mine drainage, and that will have a negative consequences on the people who are living surrounding these areas. And apart from that, this particular one member panel has recommended conduct of the drone survey, so especially to locate deposits of coal which is being mined legally immediately after the completion of transportation of reassessed and re-verified inventories of coal to the Coal India Limited designated depots. So therefore, when we conduct these drone kind of a surveys, so what happens is that we can prevent the illegal mining that has been taking place, and illegal mining is actually having a lot of negative consequences on the environment. Okay, so that's all in today's lecture, and thank you so much. I hope you get some knowledge about these issues which are in news, and they are also important for the exam. Thank you so much, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also hit the like button. Thank you.